All right. Here we go. As one Crookshank, your one and only Move Swiftly speaker, checking in for a daily Move Swiftly thought, giving you a perspective on teamwork that you will not get anywhere else. Recording this April 16th, 2024. And basketball fever, basketball season is officially taking over the world. All right, we just had March Madness, just finished watching Epic. I personally didn't watch it, but very hyped up, so to speak, NBA anticipated, we'll say it like that, very anticipated WNBA draft, and today is the start of the NBA playoffs, or the play-in tournament. So because of all that, it only seems right, it only feels right to give you my top 5 for the week. My top 5 list for the week are my top 5 NBA duos. The top 5 NBA duos. Hold on. My bad. The top 5, almost got ran over there, guys. But anyway, top 5 NBA duos that I've seen. Now, a couple rules. The main thing, not a couple, but the main rule for this particular list is these duos had to have won multiple championships. All right? That is the key ingredient, because there's a couple that are going to be left off this list that you're going to be like, man, those are some bad duos. But again, it has to be the multiple, not just one, multiple championships, no one and dones and shit like that. All right, so let's get into it. Coming in at number 5, the Ballad of Aswan Crookshank, top 5 NBA duos. The Splash Brothers, Steph and Klay. I get it. Know a lot of you younger guys, especially guys, my nephew's age, who's around 12, 13 age, are like, Steph and Klay at number 5 and not number 1. Yes, Steph and Klay number 5, because here's why. I'm gonna tell you why. I'm gonna give you a briefing why. Because Steph and Klay, the Splash Brothers, as they like to call themselves, all right, they live beyond the arc. They live with that 3-point shot. And I remember actually watching the game when they lost to Cleveland, watching that series when they had the best team in the entire history of the NBA. They had the best record in the history of the NBA. And I remember I was telling young basketball players, his name was actually JJ, who I actually did an NIL deal with last year. I was telling them, look, die by the 3. Live by the 3, and then you die by the 3. So that's actually what happened. That's why, not to say that they're bad or anything like that, but that's why I put them number 5 in the top 5 list. They're coming in 5, right? Number 4, Twin Towers, baby. The Admiral and the Big Fundamental. That's David Robinson and Tim Duncan. Now, them two are number 4 for the opposite reasons, because they're 2 big men, all right? They're 2 big men, and they didn't have, back then, there was actual positions in basketball. There was a 1, a 2, a 3, a 4, and a 5. Tim Duncan and David Robinson were the 4 and the 5, and they didn't have that, 3-point game and things like that. They lived inside the paint, so they're coming in at number 4. Now, number 3, pains me to have to admit this, because I am a Miami Heat fan, diehard Miami Heat fan, and I have to admit, I wanted to put these guys, had these guys won another championship, I would be putting them number 1, but I got to be very fair when it comes to my top 5 list, and I got to put Wade and LeBron James and D Wade coming in at number 3 on this list, because in my opinion, again, because I'm a fan of the team, I feel like they underachieved. I was expecting about 4 or 5 championships out of that crew, and I only got 2. They went 2 for 2 in the championship rounds, and again, a lot of it was Bron really just being Bron. This is when Bron was in his prime, and Wade was kind of on the back end of his career, because I think he was dealing with a knee injury, and you had Bron you saw his game develop. You saw the haters and all that shit. You saw all of that just make him an absolute monster. I believe it got said on multiple occasions, the people that have kind of recounted that year and looked at his career and said, LeBron learned how to not give a fuck. He learned how to not give a fuck during that time. So that's Wade and Bron coming in at number 3. Now, if you're a real basketball fan, if you really tuned into the game, you know where I'm going at with 1 and 2, all right? You know where I'm going at with 1 and 2. So I'm going to say 2, and then you automatically going to know who 1 is. Or I'm going to say, and you're going to either agree or disagree, because this one was up in the air, and I'm going to tell you why. I rank these 2 duos 1 and 2, why I did it the way I did it, because this was neck and neck. I've been, again, as the basketball fever has been hitting me, and a kid growing up, from the DMV area, DC, Maryland, Virginia area, loving basketball, loving watching basketball. Was never actually any good at it. Just loved watching it. I was a football guy, but number 2 on my top 5 list of NBA duos that I've seen, here we go, Scottie Pippen and Michael Jordan. Scottie Pippen and Michael Jordan are coming in at number 2. So you know who number 1 is. Number 1 on my list of top 5 NBA duos, Shaq and Kobe. I mean, this was not an easy decision because, again, I've always had a little hatred in my heart for them because of the way they did my dog Iverson. I always blame those two for keeping Allen Iverson from getting his 1 ring. But I got to be honest, Shaq and Kobe is the best NBA duo in the history of the game. All right, in history of the game. I'll tell you why. Again, not to take anything away from Scottie and Jordan, but the difference is, here's a couple things that are different about them, all right? Pippen was more of a point forward. Pippen was more of a point forward, and obviously Jordan was arguably the GOAT. Again, I'm Team Bron, but again, we're not gonna start that debate right now. But Pippen worked it like a point forward, and Jordan was, again, he was just Jordan. He was just doing shit that you just don't do. He was like watching LeBron when he was in Miami, just stuff that is just not humanly possible, all right? Now, with Shaq and Kobe, they worked really well off each other because you had the most dominant big man in the history of the game, and then you had Kobe, who's number 2 in terms of the greatest shooting guards to ever play this game. You had Kobe, and they just fed off each other really, really well. And what really, in my opinion, put them over the top is the fact that once Shaq and Kobe separated, meaning once Shaq went to Miami, he won a ring, and then once Kobe won 2 more rings without Shaq. So what sets them apart, in my opinion, in terms of the greatest duo, if you're comparing them to Jordan and Pippen, what sets them apart is the fact that they won championships without each other. And because of that, you gotta give the nod to Shaq and Kobe in regards to the greatest duo to ever play in the NBA, okay? Like I said, I'll be doing these weekly. I'll be having my top 5 list weekly. I would love to hear some input from you guys. I mean, I love doing this. And just the basketball fever in itself, it's making me missing the debates, all the debates that I used to have with my guys back in school days. This was me, I talk sports. The list could be whatever. Wait till you see the one I got next week when we're talking NFL draft and all that stuff. But just you got to wait next week for that, all right? Main website to check out to dive deeper into all my work, makeyourmove.com. That's MakeYamove.com. One-stop shop for all your teamwork and your self-development needs. As one Crookshank, your one and only Move Swiftly speaker checking out. You guys continue to move swiftly. We will talk more soon.